So we can't let you guys go without asking for some season 3 teases. So we've kind of tried to weave our way through all the themes that we know and love well from the Karate Kid, but is there any hidden corner of that movie, whether it's a theme or a certain detail or something that you're just eager to explore that you guys have yet to do?
There's so much. There's so much. I mean, one of the things that we love about season 3 is the first time that Ralph Macchio was actually filming in Okinawa, because they shot Karate Kid 2 in Hawaii. So we get to know a little bit more about Mr. Miyagi. And, we should take a moment and just talk a little bit more about, Pat Morita's amazing performance as, the layers in that performance. That's one of those things that you watch the movie as a kid and then you watch it as you get older and you realize just how special that performance was. And Mr. Miyagi was a character who was troubled, who was flawed, who had issues, who wasn't eager to train Daniel LaRusso in karate. The memories you have are like that warm relationship that Daniel and Miyagi have. But in a sense, if you rewatch the Karate Kid and then you watch, early episodes of Cobra Kai, there's sort of a similarity between Johnny's attitude about Miguel and Miyagi's attitude about Daniel in certain ways. And, so those characters actually overlap in quite a few ways. And it's, one of the things that we love about, season 3 is to be able to, dig a little bit more into the past of Miyagi's karate and Mr. Miyagi himself.
And that's only one aspect, because that's the one that we've talked about. We don't want to get too into detail with some of the other things, except to say one of the goals that we have when we do the show is to give greater insight and depth into the characters that we see in the original movie. And so our hope is, if you watch season 3, you'll go again back and watch Karate Kid in a new light, even in a different way than if you've seen the first 2 seasons, because we shed light on certain things that, kind of in some ways set up the original Karate Kid movie. It's just because we love these characters and we want to know more about them and what makes their heads tick. And, you get little glimpses, for example, of what Johnny's life was like and his home life was like on our show in season 1, which gives you something, a new perspective when you watch the original. I think it's a similar thing in season 3. We have moments on that show, rather moments in the season that make you go back to the first movie and look at it in a new light. And not just, like John said, one is with Miyagi, but it's with all the characters, and it's really it's fun because we're telling a new, fresh story. We have a lot of stuff with the younger actors that have nothing to do with the past, but you can't escape the past, and it's embedded in the story and in the characters. And to understand the present and the future, you kind of have to go back into the past and work things out and uncover new things. And that's what's fun about season 3.
Well, there's a great lyric in Joe Esposito's timeless song, You're the Best Around, that says history repeats itself. And, it's in there because that song was composed for Rocky 3. And it was literally supposed to be history repeats itself as he's, fighting again. But they used it for the Karate Kid, where I don't think history had repeated itself yet at the time the song was on. But by the time our audience is seeing season 3 of Cobra Kai, there is enough to play with now with that younger generation, especially looking back at the movie, and lots of characters realizing what mistakes haven't been truly dealt with, what is left to evolve, and how to fix the pain that we left audiences, feeling that sucker punch of the end of season 2. So we have a lot to answer for as the writers who put everybody through that. But I think it's going to be a very satisfying season for people to bathe in.
When you look at the sequels, it's almost like they understood the nostalgia back in the 1980s. If you look at Karate Kid 2 and Karate Kid 3, they're doing a lot of what we're doing. They used footage from Karate Kid 1 in those movies, and they really kept the vibe of the original going. And there is more to explore, with the sequels, and you'll see that in season 3 and hopefully beyond.
Well, there's something so fun in looking at the entire franchise as canon because, and the mechanics of actually writing a franchise, there are scenes, there are characters, there are choices in wardrobe and in what car somebody's driving or what street they live on that are literally just you make a decision and you move on, or it's just a matter of getting a character from here to there. But with the passage of time, those seemingly meaningless at times choices become these treasures that we pick up off the ground, and we're like, oh my gosh, like if we lean into this not only becomes an episode, it becomes a season. You start to see this like kind of meadow of flowers that have grown from the most meaningless of story choices at times. That does give it a little bit of that, this can go on, which we love because we have a lot of more story to tell.
We've always been the kinds of fans who would watch a movie over and over. Your favorite thing is like Get Him a Body Bag was, just something that was thrown into that movie.
It's ADR.
Exactly. That wasn't even on set. And it became this line that like people like us and fans all over the world sort of connected with. And then when we're breaking story, and we're thinking, okay, we're going to have this, important episode where Johnny and his friends get together. We're like, we wanted it to be a poignant kind of episode. And we have like the most meta joke of all time at the end when Tommy gets zipped up in the body bag. And it's sort of like taking those little moments and building out a story about middle-aged friends who are experiencing, mortality and where you are and where you're going. To take that moment from the ADR room and to, build a, meaningful story from it. That's, it's the fun that we have. And it's the joke. It's in a weird way, it's the joke of this whole show because we're comedy writers first and foremost. So like the fact that we're like, getting to do moments and then build full story out of it is the greatest joy for us.